Okay, Gareth Bale is linked with a move to Tottenham Hotspur. There's growing reports linking him to a move to White Hart Lane out of the Bernabeu, and they're growing in strength in the last 48 hours. There's no doubting his ability on the field. At his best, he is one of the best players on his day, if not one of the best players in Europe. We've seen him in Champions League finals do what he's done in that 2018 final against Liverpool, those 2 goals. Absolutely brilliant piece of individual play, wins Real Madrid the game. Obviously, in the last couple of seasons, his relationship has soured with management at Real Madrid. He's only played 100 minutes of football since the return of football post-lockdown. He's cut a very peripheral figure. He spends more time on the golf course. There are questions about his attitude and where his head's at, and there's question marks about his fitness. But there is no doubt when he's on form, when he feels part of a squad, he is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The concern is that since he's left Tottenham, has it gone to his head a little bit? He was one of the most expensive players at the time. He was signed by Real Madrid ever. Obviously, that's now since been surpassed by Neymar's transfer to PSG. But he's still the most expensive British player of all time, I believe. But his career has clearly stalled. He's now in the second half of his career now, and injuries have become a concern. Fitness and his attitude. There are reports coming out of Madrid that he's never learnt Spanish, which hasn't really helped him get along with his teammates. He's a divisive figure in the Real Madrid dressing room. There's reports of that being part of a divided dressing room. Now, he has worked well with Mourinho. He won the 2014 Champions League final with Mourinho. So we know he can work with Mourinho and he has a good working relationship with Jose Mourinho. But that's over 6 years ago. Mourinho has since moved on to other things and other clubs. Now, on the Tottenham side of things, can they justify spending a massive transfer fee, considering the amount of money they put into the stadium that was over budget and late? The fact that earlier on during the pandemic they furloughed staff and were panned in the media for the handling of that and then backtracked on that decision, but they did say finances were a little bit tight. And can they justify spending up to £600,000 a week on his wages? That is something that could disrupt the balance of that dressing room. Bringing Gareth Bale back into that dressing room and disturbing the balance that seems to be a very united dressing room. That could start adding an extra distraction. The amount of money he earns could potentially be a distraction. If they can't get him on a permanent transfer straight away, is there a loan option in there? Will Real Madrid have to pay some of his wages? There's a whole host of questions. But the rumours coming out of North London and out of Real Madrid is heavily linking with a move. Now, whether it happens or not, and whether it takes place, because we've seen him agitate for a move before to the Chinese Super League, that fell through. Real Madrid weren't happy with the offer put on the table. I think it was by a team from Shanghai, and that collapsed. But there has to be question marks about his attitude. I mean, you look on social media, he's getting absolutely roasted on social media. You look at Twitter, you look at Facebook, you look at the comments on his Instagram. He's getting trolled on social media. He's become a meme and a gif. He spends more time on the golf course than on the training field. And if you look at it, if he was actually a golfer, he'd be the 5th highest paid golfer in the world. And the fact he is commanding such a high salary, he has to justify that high salary. And in this current post-COVID lockdown, footballing world, finances are tight and clubs are going to find it harder and harder to justify these obscene wages. And he needs to get his head right. Because on his day, as I say, when he's fully fit on his day, he is one of the best wingers in the game. And he can also play as a wing-back as well. He's actually a converted left-back into wing-back into a winger. So he can play anywhere down the left-hand side and sometimes down the right-hand side. So you would think, you could play him in several positions, which adds a bit of depth to your squad. So if you have an issue where you're playing a wing-back system and your wing-back goes down, you could put him as a wing-back, as an extra winger. So he does add a few options to an attacking and a defensive formation. He does add options there. The issue is where his head's at and where his fitness is at, and can Tottenham justify his wages and a possible transfer fee? They can't get him on loan. If they do get him on loan, what is the option for a buyout clause later on where there's the option to buy at a reduced fee? What would that be? How much will Real Madrid put into paying for his wages? It's a complicated issue, that kind of loan with the option to buy system. At the same time, will he fit into that Tottenham side? Because that's a very settled dressing room. It seems to be a very united dressing room under Mourinho. He seems to have improved the team from Pochettino's last few months in charge. yes, he adds something, but at the same time, will that cause division in there with how much he's commanding in wages? Considering that there have been players at Tottenham over the last few years who've demanded a wage increase and have been moved on by Daniel Levy. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. But there you go. He's heavily linked with the move to Spurs. Let's see what happens. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts below, and I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.